If you are a foreign national interested in studying at a designated learning institution in Canada, you may require a study permit. This video will go over the steps of applying for an initial study permit. Please note that the information presented in this video does not constitute legal advice and may change without notice. You are recommended to always refer to Immigration, Refugees Citizenship Canada's official website for the most up-to-date information, or consult with an international academic advisor. Applying for a study permit involves several steps, and the processing times vary greatly from country to country. Therefore, it is best to plan ahead to ensure your permit will be processed before your intended study period starts. The IRCC advises applicants to apply for their study permit as soon as they receive their letter of acceptance from a designated learning institute. During the time you wait for your LOA, you should prepare and gather all other documents required for your application. Prior to starting your study permit application, it is highly recommended that you go over IRCC's webpage on study permit. You may access this webpage by going to canada.ca, selecting the appropriate language, clicking on Immigration and Citizenship, then Study, and then Get a Study Permit. The webpage includes important information about the application process, who can apply, what documents are required, how to apply, what happens after you have submitted your application, and, if approved for a study permit, steps to prepare for your arrival in Canada, and things to take note of during your studies. In the majority of cases, a study permit application should be submitted from outside Canada. However, as noted here, under some situations, you may be eligible to apply for a study permit from inside Canada or at the port of entry. If applying for your study permit from outside Canada, you must submit an online application. You are only eligible to apply on paper if one of these applies to you. You have a disability that prevents you from applying online, or you hold an identity document or a travel document for non-national residents, refugees, or stateless persons. If you're a legal resident in certain countries, you may be able to get your study permit faster by applying online through the Student Direct Stream. You may scan the QR code below to obtain more details regarding the SDS program and its eligibility requirements. If you will be applying for your study permit from outside Canada, it's highly recommended that you review Guide 5269, Applying for a Study Permit Outside Canada. The guide offers important information you must know before you submit your application and explains how to fill out the forms and gather your supporting documents. It provides detailed answers to questions like, are there activities for which a study permit is not required? How do I find out if the school I want to attend is a designated learning institution? What requirements must I meet to get a study permit? Are there any conditions on my study permit? It also offers information regarding what happens after you have submitted your application. The first step to submitting an online application for a study permit is to create an IRCC secure online account. If you require assistance in creating your IRCC account, please watch the video, How to Create an Account for IRCC, on our International Advising website. Once you have created an account, go to canada.ca on your browser. Select your preferred language. Click on Immigration and Citizenship, and then My Application. Next, click on Sign In or create an IRCC secure account. Now click on Sign In with GC Key, or you may sign in through the Sign In Partner option. Enter your username and password. Click Continue. Now enter the one-time passcode that is sent to you on the device or email address you provided for multi-factor authentication at the time of creating your account. Hit Continue and continue again. Now read through the terms and conditions and click I accept. Enter the answer to your secret question, which you would have created at the time of creating your IRCC account. Click Continue. Once you are logged in, click on Apply to come to Canada. If you have a personal reference code, you may enter it here. Your personal reference code is a unique code you get when you use IRCC's Come to Canada online eligibility tool. Entering this code will enable you to bypass the application eligibility questionnaire. If you don't have a personal reference code, simply click on Visitor Visa, Study, and/or Work Permit. This will take you to a series of questions, and depending on how you answer these questions, the system will determine which visa or permit you are eligible to apply for. Please note that some of the answers to the questions presented in this video may differ depending on your specific situation. It is crucial that you answer each question accurately and truthfully as it applies to your individual situation. Any false information provided can be considered misrepresentation, which is a criminal offense in Canada. Now let's go through the questions together. For the first question, what would you like to do in Canada? Since our intention is to study in Canada, we will select Study. Next, how long are you planning to stay in Canada? If the program that you are admitted into is longer than 6 months, then you will select Temporarily more than 6 months. However, if you are enrolled in a short program of less than 6 months, or are a visiting student who will only be coming to Canada to study for a period of less than 6 months, you will select Temporarily less than 6 months. Next, select the country that matches your passport. And then select your current country of residence. The next question asks if you have a family member who is a Canadian citizen or PR and is 18 plus. You can click here to get IRCC's definition of a family member. Choose the appropriate answer based on your situation. Next, enter your date of birth. And then click Next. Now we are asked whether we are a permanent resident or citizen of U.S. If you are, select Yes, otherwise choose No. Have you been accepted to a designated learning institution? You must have been accepted by a Canadian school, college, university, or other educational institution to be eligible to study in Canada. Please select Yes if you have received your letter of acceptance. Have you visited or lived in any one of the designated countries for 6 consecutive months in the last year? Click on this link and answer Yes to this question if you have lived in any of the countries that have Yes indicated for an immigration medical exam. Have you had a medical exam performed by an IRCC authorized panel physician within the last 12 months? If you have, you may select Yes, otherwise choose No. What is your marital status? Answer as per your situation. What is your province or territory of destination? Here, select the province where you will be residing and completing your studies. Based on the information we provided, the system has determined that we may be eligible to come to Canada as a student. To process our study permit application further, click Continue here. Next, in order for the system to provide us with our personalized checklist, there are a few more questions we need to answer. Please note here, do not submit multiple applications for the same service as this will only delay the processing of your application. Now let's hit Continue. Do you have a valid work permit or study permit and need a visa to return to Canada? If you currently do not possess a work permit or study permit, select No. Next, we are asked if we are an exchange student. Select No, unless you are coming to Canada as an exchange student and plan to study for only a short period of time, 6 months or less. Is work an essential component of your studies? If your program has a co-op component that you wish to complete, then you may select Yes here. Selecting Yes will provide you with the option to apply for a co-op work permit, along with your study permit. If your program does not have a co-op component, select No. If you are unsure of whether your program has a co-op component, you may refer to kpu.ca/coop/programs for a list of co-op programs. Next question. Are you a spouse, common law partner, or child of certain skilled worker, or of certain full-time international student that has or will have status in Canada? Answer as per your situation. Next, if you are a recipient of a Commonwealth scholarship or a full bursary from CIDA or a participant in a Canadian aid program for developing countries, select Yes, otherwise choose No. Are you accompanying a family member that has status in Canada or has recently been approved to come to Canada? Answer as per your situation. Have you ever committed, been arrested for, been charged with, or convicted of any criminal offense in any country. Again, answer as per your situation. You can always click on the question mark to get more details regarding the question. Do you want to submit an application for a family member? Select the appropriate answer based on your situation. Note, if you choose yes here, you will be asked additional questions regarding each family member. If you wish to give someone else access to your application, select the appropriate answer. Otherwise, choose a no. In the past 10 years, have you given your fingerprints and photo, biometrics, for an application to come to Canada? Choose no here, unless you have provided biometrics in the past 10 years. For the next question, please select yes. I will be paying my application fees. The next question asks whether you were able to make digital copies of your documents with a scanner or a camera. You must ensure you have access to these tools and choose yes here in order to move forward with your application. If you will be using your phone camera to take pictures of your documents, make sure they are clear and of good resolution. Next, you will be required to pay your application fees online. You have the option to pay either through a credit card, Visa Debit, or Debit MasterCard. Make sure you are able to pay through one of these methods and select yes to continue. Once you have answered all the questions, you will be given a chance to review your answers. If there's anything you want to change, just click on the icon next to the answer to modify your answer. Once you have carefully reviewed all your answers, click Continue. This page provides you with important tips on how to save your application, how to upload your documents, and how to pay your application fees. Please read through these carefully. You may even print this page out for future reference. Once you have read through all these tips, click Continue. Based on the answers we provided, the system has generated a document checklist for us. One of the great things about IRCC's online application process is that it won't let you submit the application until you have uploaded all the required documents. You won't even be able to see the Submit button. Now let's go over each of the documents together. The first item on the list is the IMM 1294 form, Application for Study Permit made outside of Canada. If you need help completing this form, you may refer to the document, Guide to Completing IMM 1294 Form for Study Permit Made Outside of Canada, found on our International Advising website. Next, under Passport, attach a copy of all your passport pages showing your passport number, date of issue and expiry, name and date of birth, and pages with any entry/exit stamps. If you click on the question mark beside the item, you will be provided with more details about what to include. Remember to merge all the scanned passport pages into one file before uploading it. Next, attach the letter of acceptance issued by the educational institution in Canada that you will be attending. You will also need to include proof of means of financial support. If the duration of your studies in Canada will be less than a year, you must provide proof of financial support for the entire duration of your studies in Canada. If the duration of your studies in Canada will be more than 1 year, you are required to provide proof of financial support for at least the first year of your studies. Some examples of proof of financial support can be found by clicking on the question mark. Moreover, you are encouraged to refer to the study permit webpage on the IRCC website, as shown earlier, for ways to prove you have funds to support yourself and any family members who may accompany you to Canada. Some examples include proof of a Canadian bank account in your name if you've transferred money to Canada, a guaranteed investment certificate, GIC, from a participating Canadian financial institution, proof of a student or education loan from a bank, your bank statements for the past 4 months, a bank draft that can be converted to Canadian dollars, proof you have paid tuition and housing fees, a letter from the person or school giving you money, the minimum funds needed to support yourself as a student, and family members who come with you can also be found here. Next, you will need to include your digital photo. Please click on the question mark and follow the specific requirements provided here for the digital photo. Last, but not least, complete the IMM 5645 Family Information Form. This form must be completed by those 18 years of age or older, or a minor traveling alone to Canada. please refer to IRCC's Guide 5269 for instructions on how to complete the form. Under Optional Documents, it's advisable to include a letter of explanation. This should detail your educational goals, reasons for selecting your program of interest, why Canada is your chosen destination for higher education, and how your study plan aligns with your career objectives. Although a study plan isn't always required, many visa offices request it. We advise attaching a letter of explanation regardless, as this letter helps the visa officer understand your objectives and goals. It is important to note that your study permit is not a visa. It does not let you enter Canada, but instead gives you the authorization to study at a DLI in Canada. In order to enter Canada, you may also need a visitor visa or an electronic travel authorization. If your study permit is approved, your visa, or ETA, will be issued to you at the same time as your study permit. You do not need to apply separately or pay an additional fee. In addition to the documents listed here, you may be required to provide additional documents depending on your country of citizenship and residence. This may include a police certificate, results of an immigration medical exam, if you are applying through the SDS program, proof of GIC payment, and, if you are under 18 years of age, a custodian declaration. Moreover, if you are submitting a study permit application from inside Canada, the documents you are required to submit will differ slightly. Please refer to the document checklist provided in IRCC's Guide 5552, applying to change conditions or extend your stay in Canada. Lastly, please take note of the application fees. If you are applying as a sole applicant, you will need to pay $150 for the study permit application and $85 for biometrics fee. Please note, this amount will be different if you have additional family members in your application. Once all the required documents have been uploaded, you will see a button labeled Next. Make sure you are ready to submit your application before going further. Once you click Next, you will be required to read and agree to a declaration, type out and submit your electronic signature, and then pay the application fee. Take a screenshot of the payment confirmation page for your records. Once you have submitted your application, you will be able to view it under the Application Submitted section in your online profile. After you pay the biometric fee, you'll get a letter confirming that you need to give your biometrics and telling you where you can go. It is important to book your biometrics collection appointment as soon as you can to avoid processing delays. To find out more information regarding biometrics and how to submit it, please scan the QR code. If you forgot to include some documents with your initial application submission and need to add them later, you can easily do this through your IRCC online account or using IRCC's web form. If you want to check the progress of your application, you can use the IRCC Application Status Tracker. Keep in mind, you'll need to create a tracker account before you can check your application status. If your study permit is approved, the Canadian government will issue you a Port of Entry introduction letter. This letter is not your study permit. You must keep this letter and show it to the immigration official when you arrive in Canada in order to obtain your study permit. Once you receive your study permit, be sure to provide us with a copy of it for our records. You may email the copy to international.documents@kpu.ca. Before departing to Canada to embark on your studies, you are recommended to review IRCC's pre-departure guide for tips and information about student life in Canada. We wish you the best of luck on your application for a Canadian study permit and hope to see you soon.